live typed in the chat. Let's see. Stream health looking good. Camera's on. Everything's healthy. Status is excellent. Perfect. Okay, so welcome to the 6th brew with the Fahem beans. So we've kind of gone a bit everywhere with these beans over here. We've tried it out initially with a range of different brewing ratios, and then we decided to narrow it down on the higher brewing ratios. And then with my last brew, I realized that I shouldn't really be using a higher brewing ratio with the Kalita Wave because I've never been successful with getting a really good cup of coffee with the Kalita Wave at a 1:18 brewing ratio. So I don't know why I always keep trying it, but I need to stop doing it because I know that this brewing device over here is great, like a fat bottom dripper is great at lower brewing ratios like 1:15, 1:16, and so on. So we decided to tweak the recipe to a 1:16 brewing ratio and use that as a starting point to hopefully get a better cup of coffee. And yeah, nothing more to say other than that. Pretty excited to hopefully get a good cup of coffee today with these beans, and we'll just keep chugging along. Let's see, so looking at today's recipe, we will be using a 1:16 ratio, 15 grams of coffee, 240 grams of water, a water temperature of 95 degrees Celsius, and a grind size of 27. Let's do it. Like so. Let's measure out our beans. Oh, and I have a secondary camera here that I want to get some footage on. Ooh. Like so. Okay, so let's measure out our beans. And we're aiming for 15 grams of coffee. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to post those in the comment section. I'm always down to court questions when I'm brewing. It's a lot of fun. Or comments, or just want to chat, whatever works. grams. And we need to change our grind size from 29 to 27. So, like so. The coffee beans. There we go. I always think whenever I smell coffee that I wish I would taste the same thing that I'm smelling, because it always feels so much more vivid in its scent. And let's get our boiling water. And we'll preheat our brewing device. Like so. I'm gonna open this because I want it to cool down. to get to 95 degrees Celsius. And we'll toss out this water. Like so. And now we're just waiting for this to cool down. Let's see. Right now it's at 97 degrees Celsius. Let's just add a dash of water. Cool, 95. Let's begin. So we'll toss in our grinds. I always use this funnel, making it so it's super easy to not get grinds all around. Give that a shake. Tare. Bring it to the timer. And our routine is pour 50 grams of of water, and then stir it. And then pour in a continuous pour all the way up to 240 grams. So let's do that. So the bloom, 50 grams, like so. Stir the bloom, like so. I never try to like dig into the filter, so I'm keeping it pretty loose. So whenever I stir, like it's just the top surface. It's never like jamming the stick into the filter. And at 30 seconds, a slow, continuous pour. I'm actually looking into getting a flow restrictor for this kettle. So this specific kettle over here sells flow restrictors, making it so that the device pours even slower. Right now it's a lot of control that is required to pour slow, but having something like a flow restrictor is pretty handy if you want to make it even more consistent. So give it a swirl, and that is 240 grams of coffee. And now we wait. Okay, it's getting really close. And there. Looking at the bed, looks good. No real uneven extraction areas. I'm always so sad when I see like the grinds like creeping up a bit, but that is just how the wave filters are. It's never like possible to get it fully flat like a Hario V60, just because of the way the filters are. Give this a stir. whenever I look at a light roast, I was like, I'm amazed by the like emerald color and the translucent vibes it gives, because you can kind of see through it, and the redness and brownness that mixes together makes it extremely appealing as a beverage. But yeah, looks delicious. Hopefully it tastes delicious. Gonna let it cool down a bit longer. So yesterday I fully recorded all of my segments for the osmotic flow video that I'm making, and I'm planning on doing some more lighter videos too, where I just kind of like sit in front of the camera and talk about a specific topic, like how beans might be very scarce in the future, making it so that coffee will become really expensive, or like what I think the best equipment is in my repertoire, or why I think that social media is kind of skewing the perception of how to brew good coffee, and topics like that. I don't really have like a video like I can teach you this type of video, but more about just giving insight in as to what I see happening around me and the patterns and trends that coffee is going towards. So it's a bit more of a loose, like coffee side chat video style that I'm aiming for, but I think that a lot of my content is just so focused on knowledge that I haven't given that type of content a chance, and I think it will be interesting to explore that. But yeah, always improving, always changing, always trying new things. That's the goal, both in your coffee brews and also in life and creation. But for now, let's give this a taste. Yes. So this one does not have any of those weird bitter notes that I had with yesterday's brew. It's way more pleasing, and it doesn't also have any crazy acidic notes either. Like, it's a very balanced cup of coffee. It's probably slightly under extracted, a bit tart, but nothing that is like super overpowering, like it instantly puckers your mouth and makes it so that you know it's extremely under extracted. It's just like a slight acidity or sourness in this cup over here. I was expecting a thicker body, like more viscous, kind of like whole milk or like more fatty milk, but it's still pretty smooth and silky. And I think with that in mind, I should probably try to make it go even lower of a brewing ratio to see if I can get those vibes out of this, or like try something different to squeeze out those qualities of this coffee, because I kind of wanted to lean more into the mouthfeel with the lower brewing ratio, but right now it's just slightly leaning towards that side and not fully leaning on it. So still has a lot of potential to explore that area, but maybe not right now. Let's add a dash of water and see what's up. So I just added 6 grams of water. Give it a stir. Yeah, so nothing really happened here. I feel like it just opened up a bit more and not in a good way. So it became a bit more raspy on my tongue. It didn't like take the acidity that was there and make it open up. It just kind of like overshadowed it and killed it off. So this cup was either balanced or slightly under extracted. And I feel like what we need to do is we need to like mix something up here. Like it's not really a delicious cup of coffee yet, but it has the potential to be a delicious cup of coffee. So what we're going to do is probably just do another mix up from this point over here, but play around with the same brewing ratio ranges. So let's see. Let's take another sip and figure out what we want to do. The more that I'm sipping it, it did add a bit more of like a silkiness to it, that dash of water, but I don't think that is the quality that I want to try to extract from these beans over here, because we did already explore the higher brewing ratios with that silkiness, and that just wasn't the cup of coffee that we wanted. So mixing it up and trying to go the opposite way and focus more on the body of the coffee is what we'll be doing with the next change of the recipe. Okay. So, I want to explore an even lower brewing ratio. I don't think we're taking enough of a risk over here. So I'm gonna change this to 1 to 14. I kind of want to get those acidities and sournesses out of this bean over here and make sure that I really know it's sour and under extracted. Because right now we're always teetering in like the balanced range and just slightly under extracted. So this cup of coffee is like over here somewhere. Very balanced but slightly under extracted. Taste wise, I would say it's okay. Adding a dash of water opened it up a bit and made it a bit more pleasing and easy to drink, but I kind of want those acidities in this cup of coffee over here, and hopefully we can get that with a lower brewing ratio. So what we're gonna do to compensate for that is we're gonna up this back to boiling over here. So we're gonna do 100 degrees Celsius over here. And obviously the change that I'm making over here is too big compared to this change over here. So what I'm also going to do is I kind of want to change grind size again, but I'm actually going to keep it at this and see how it tastes. So even though this change over here is massive and this change over here is very small, what we're going to do instead is actually up the dose. That would be an interesting change over here. So instead of 1 to 15, we're going to do a 1 to 17 dose. Or a 17 gram dose, not a 1 to 17 ratio. And what this does is it elongates the brewing time because I need to use more water to brew with the coffee. So by increasing the amount of coffee you're using, you're also increasing the extraction of the coffee. So both of these increase extraction, this decreases extraction. So let's calculate how much water we need to use. So we need to use, what's 17 times 14? Calculator. $238 grams. Pretty close. 238 grams. So this will be our new recipe over here. So we want to lean more into the body of the coffee, try to make it a bit more thick and viscous. That is why we're changing our brewing ratio even lower. So we're going from a 1 to 16 to a 1 to 14 brewing ratio. Right now, since our coffee is pretty balanced, it means that we're at a good point, and this big change in the brewing ratio will under-extract the coffee. So to compensate, we're increasing the water temperature back to boiling, and we are increasing the dose from 1 to 15 to 1 to 17, which will lengthen the brewing time. And hopefully these two changes will balance out the change that I make with the brewing ratio. That's what we're gonna brew for tomorrow. Kind of excited. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I hope you have a great day. Enjoy every moment of it, hopefully, or at least just enjoy your coffee. And I'll see you maybe tomorrow. Have a stellar day, everyone. Exclamation mark. End stream. See ya.